This is an intro. Intro.
Hustle and Float Chart with your boy, my boy, Matt Wolf and Joe Fair.
Hey.
Joe.
Yo.
How's it going?
I'm here.
We're just sitting here writing songs.
We got a jingle for you. If you've ever heard a jingle, we got a jingle for you. But
chances are, if you listen to our podcast all the time, you've already heard the jingle.
I think we're extending the jingle, and we have bigger plans for this jingle.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the jingle,
in real time.
Maybe we should talk about what we're going to talk about today.
That's typically what we should do in these intros. Yes, not ramble too far. That one-star review we ever have had, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Said your intros suck. Do you think our intros suck?
Probably.
Let us know. But not through the reviews if you think this. Email us.
If you think our intros suck, don't let us know in the reviews. Just email us.
Gladly at info@evergreenprofits.com. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, but you know,
yes.
The whole point of these intros is we want to give you a little piece of our personality. Like, this is how we really are in real life. We goof off, we joke around, we talk crap about ourselves, we're self-deprecating, and we sing jingles to ourselves. That's
you got
who
a
we
problem
are.
with that? You got a problem with that?
If you got a problem with that, there's a skip button on your podcast player.
Yeah,
you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and not listen to our show because you don't like our intros. Come on, people.
You're better than that, Jim. Oh, Jim and Sue.
Jim and
Not
Sue.
Sue, our note taker, though. Sue,
No.
you're cool. Don't skip ahead. We need notes for this one.
Yeah. All right. So today we're talking to Larry Ludwig, and Larry is an affiliate marketer ninja. In fact, do you know how big of an affiliate marketer ninja he is?
$6 million exit big.
Yeah, he built a blog with affiliate links on it and sold the blog for $6 million.
An affiliate site without any fancy, crazy opt-in, paid traffic, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's content. That's him and a handful of people.
That wasn't even selling like courses or other products. It was purely affiliate marketing, which in our industry is sort of unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, and we brought that up, and he was actually kind of surprised. He's like, "Hey, wait, what? There's a lot." And he started naming websites that have sold for 30+ million.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which that's, again, perspective change for us. And, we all have these blind spots. So there's potential here.
Yeah. So in this episode, we spend some time covering his affiliate marketing strategy that he used on that website. We spend some time talking about how he actually drove traffic to that website through SEO. It was, mostly focused on SEO. He talks about some of his favorite tools to make sure that his affiliate marketing is way more effective than other people. We even touch a little bit on software development because on his website, he made some cool little software things to make his website even beefier. And
and Larry actually, so what's really cool with Larry, he is kind of like a hybrid marketer, investor, but also coder. So he kind of like has this cool perspective of things that, it's a different type of human we're bringing on the podcast here to ask him questions. So we literally went through affiliate marketing, SEO, tech, and then we even got into, okay, now that you have sold your business, Investor Junkie is the website still, and making his, his exit there, he actually broke down his investment strategy too, and how he's transitioning to new things, because we find that kind of fascinating because it's a complete different perspective at that point. When you're building something for so long, it's like, as an entrepreneur, you're getting pulled in these directions, and then you're like, oh, wait, I don't have to do anything? Wait, what? And that's good and bad, obviously. So it's cool to hear his perspective. He'll talk all about it.
Yeah, and over at LarryLudwig.com, he's actually got some courses on some of this stuff. So if you want to kind of go even deeper and learn even more of the strategies of how he ramped this business up and sold it, you can go to LarryLudwig.com, and if you use the coupon code HUSTLE, I believe, use the coupon code HUSTLE, he's actually got a 20% little discount for you. We're not affiliates or anything. It's just we love what he's managed to do, and we think you will too. So he's giving you guys 20% off if you want to go grab his courses.
Larry's the man. He's hooking you up. So go check it out at LarryLudwig.com. We'll link it in the show notes. Use Hustle out for his courses. And of course, we got them notes for you.
We took them notes.
And
this is where the jingle comes in.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry.
Okay.
So these notes, I mean, if you haven't heard about these notes, these notes, you got to get these notes. I'm just going to keep saying this until they get these notes.
Yeah.
But we got to tell them where they get these notes. notes.
Yeah.
So we took the notes for you. Just that's all you got to know, and they're really good notes. So you want them, and they're free.
So what we realized is there's a lot of people that listen to podcasts while not at a computer.
Oh, go figure. Like, are your hands wet right now from washing dishes?
Yeah. I mean, isn't it?
You don't want to take notes.
It's kind of weird because I never listen to a podcast at a computer. Yet we're telling people go to hustleandflowchart.com/comp to get these comps, these companions, which you still can go to hustleandflowchart.com/comp and get these comps. But there's another way to do it if you're not at your computer.
This is what you do. You do it safely. It's called text message. Use your phone.
38470
Comp.
38470
Comp.
38470
Comp.
Boom.
Get them quick. Get them fast. They go away. They get locked in a vault after 2 weeks.
Our jingle's getting worse as we go on.
You stop doing the
38470.
Give me some rhythm, man.
38470 comp. All right. So anyway, if you text 38470 and you use the word comp, so type the word COMP and send it to the phone number 38470.
We got you, and we'll send them notes.
We're going to hook you up with these companions. You got 2 weeks to do it. So 2 weeks from the day this episode goes live, you can go grab those companions. And after that, they get locked up into our vault, and you will never, ever, ever see them again unless you become a member of our community. Then
don't be the person that, because we see this, and I'm not shaming it, but it's like, don't be the one that's like, the notes aren't there anymore. And it's like, well, you didn't listen to the instructions that we make very explicitly clear in every episode. So just be quick.
Yeah.
Because that does happen. And we've bent a little bit here and there, and sometimes we love you, but please be quick when you get these things. So 38470 comp or hustleandflowchart.com/comp.
Yeah. All right. So
go get them.
Go do one of those. You press pause and do it real quick. Pull over in your car. Do it real quick. You're not going to want to forget this. All right.
Be safe.
So hustleandflowchart.com/comp or 38470. Type the word comp. Send it to that number, and we'll hook you up. Either way, let's go chat with Larry, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, we've been riffing for a while now, and you and I had a chat. We got introduced by our fellow investor buddy over there at College Investor.
College Investor, yep.
Robert. So, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of probably similar talks that we had with him. Dear God, I'm blanking on his name.
Robert Farrington.
I'm like, I went to middle school with him and everything. Told you it's
Lucky
been long.
Passed out.
Long day. But we had him on the show, and he opened up our eyes to some amazing things he could do with content, with affiliate marketing, with traffic.
Oh yeah,
and
he opened our eyes to Reddit. We literally did nothing with Reddit. We talked to him. We talked about Reddit on that episode with him, and ever since, Joe and I have both been semi-obsessed with Reddit.
I know, it's amazing that platform. It's still underutilized. I mean, same thing with Quora, like he mentions as well in this podcast. I think that's fascinating. Is those? I mean, as far as marketing and advertising, I'm definitely not. You kind of want to go to spaces that are not overcrowded. Obviously, Facebook and Google Ads are kind of, at the moment, at least overcrowded, and you got to find what other opportunities are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many of them. We were chatting about being multi-channel, multimedia, repurposing. There's so many of those things that we're constantly talking about, but a lot of folks just don't know what the power is or how to do it. But let's talk about you because you come from that investor background, the FinCon world, all that. Give us a little bit of your history. You sold a business and now you're transitioning into something new. So give us that little backstory.
Well, I started in 1994. So I worked for an ad agency back in 94, really helping develop some of the first websites. I mean, for brands such as like Chase, Minolta, T. Rowe Price, ING Bank, and really was, I knew the future of the web was really, unlike, traditional media, like direct marketing back before that, it really had the ability to measure and track stuff unlike traditional media. I definitely was realizing, even back then, it was the tools available, you pretty much had to build yourself. There was nothing really out there to, just buy off the shelf like a WordPress or anything like that, or Google Analytics didn't even exist at the time. And you had to really build everything from scratch, but I knew the capabilities were out there. So I started with that firm. I left there, bounced around for a few other companies, went to a startup called Commerce One in 99. After that, finally ventured off onto my own business and started developing websites and hosting websites for about 10 years. And then from there, back in 2009, I got really frustrated with the business. you want to go into a crappy business, a really shitty business, go into web hosting. I can definitely give you that. Do not go into web hosting. Avoid it at all costs, no matter what
Even
people
now,
say.
huh?
Yeah, I would know. Unfortunately, it sucks. So I did a web hosting business and got really frustrated with it and wasn't really appreciated by the clients I had at the time. And I figured, why not? I got a little light bulb off my head. There was a website called Bankaholic that sold in 2008 for, I think it was 15 million grand total.
Oh, wow.
And it was one guy. He monetized via affiliate marketing. And I already knew about affiliate marketing with my web hosting business because I sold SSL certs and sold domain names. And that was a decent part of my income. And I knew that was, I didn't offer it myself. I sold it through a reseller. So I knew that was a way to definitely, grow my business and supplement my income. And I thought, why not do something similar to Bankaholic? I initially started doing something with savings accounts and CDs. And at the time, 2009, when I first started Investor Junkie, I just knew it was just not going to take off because of, bank rates were like at zero. And there was no point in really doing that. But I felt investments were really underutilized. So I grew Investor Junkie to just promote and discuss reviews of, investment products. And around that same time, like a few years later, they actually grew into things like robo-advisors. And all the affiliate programs really started popping up during that time frame. And make a long story short, grew that to a multi-million-dollar business and sold it in 2018 for $6 million.
Nice. And that's where, and now you're transitioning into new things, or maybe not totally new things, but like you were saying, more personal branded, affiliate marketing focused.
In retrospect, I built out Investor Junkie and really built it as a brand and knew it was going to be separate. Ironically, this is a story I don't think I've told. So FinCon, the financial conference that you mentioned before, it's a very popular conference. Been going since 2012. And in that first conference in Denver, I saw actually 3 friends of mine now, JD Roth, Harlan, and who was the third one? Jim Wang. And they were on stage discussing how they too sold their businesses for multi-million dollars. And I'm like, well, shit, why can't I be that? Why can't I get in that same situation? And sure enough, I think 6 years later, 6 years later, I sold the business as well. But I also knew at the time, you really had to brand, like building around a website around yourself. I don't know who would really want to buy it. So I wanted to really focus on a brand, and I did just that. But in retrospect, I didn't build up in parallel my own, personal brand as well, which I should have done in retrospect. But it is what it is. So I'm in the process of doing that now.
Yeah. And that's I think it's very smart, and it's good to have both, because both can support each other, and one lives on with you, to wherever you want to shine that light in the future.
Exactly. One of the things I always wrestled with Investor Junkie was, I didn't want to be the face of the brand, but in the same notion, there's certain mediums like email, video, podcasting, which sort of mentioned offline, by very nature has to be personable. You want some, talking head discussing that topic. And I kind of avoided that, unfortunately. So in retrospect, you kind of have to build out in parallel those 2 brands, and I sort of avoided that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So with Investor Junkie, most of your revenue, or if not all of it, I'm not sure how it was split up, but it came from affiliate marketing mostly, right? Or was it all affiliate marketing?
It was all affiliate marketing. That's definitely unique. It's a double-edged sword, of course. I'm sure you're well aware of that.
Yeah.
On one hand, you don't have any products and services, which is great. On the other hand, you don't have any products and services. So with that said, we did all affiliate marketing. It was all SEO based. So those are the 2 major risks to any affiliate marketing is SEO, search engine optimization. You're relying on Google search to find you, and affiliate marketing. It's not your own products and services. And I guess one of the reasons I sold the business is, at the time I grew the business to what I thought would be the ultimate peak. And really to grow to that next level, I knew it had to be a different business, meaning I would have to monetize it via other ways, like courses or membership site or something like that. And just knew, I had an offer at the time, and why not take that offer and just, take that money, lock in those gains and do something different. And kind of that's where I am today.
Gotcha. So with the affiliate marketing, what was the sort of play behind it? Like, what were you promoting, and how were you promoting it to get the affiliate commissions? It
was mostly reviews and comparisons. So we definitely tried to with the reviews, we really took stance was, we could say anything we want and not have any guidance by the merchant. So the merchant really had no say other than if the products and services were incorrect. Like if we made a mistake on like a rate or functionality, we missed out. So they corrected us on that, but we had total freedom to say whatever we wanted. And in the end, we monetized just really based on those two major features. I mean, reviews and comparisons are really really down the funnel, and one of the last steps before people, decide to purchase something. And they're really looking towards an expert like ourselves to say, hey, we recommend this product or not this product, or here's at least the features and functionality, and go out and do all that research and then look at us to be that expert to say, we recommend this because of this reason.
Yeah. So what was the offer? Was it mostly like credit card offers and like loans and things like that?
No, I mean, I know the new owners added credit cards, but I purposely stayed away from credit cards because of one is compliance are a pain in the butt. And the other reason is, being an investor junkie, I really wanted to be different than a lot of the other personal finance sites. College Investor, for example, really covers a much wider gamut as an example. I didn't want to I wanted to be purely the expert on investing and only investing. And ironically, it's on one hand good, but it limited the size of the audience by very nature because there's only so many investors out there. And added things like savings and CD accounts to the site eventually, just because if we wanted to expand that net, we wanted to be I can consider savings accounts and CDs, bank CDs, to be like the gateway drug towards investing. So they're their first step before they decide to go out and invest in something. And ironically, many of the very robo-advisors we discussed and reviewed finally added that same thing on their own sites because they need to have a bigger audience.
Yeah. I think you and I chatted about that, like things like Wealthfront added in their own, high yield savings account.
Yep.
So it's a simple way to be like, oh, and while you're at it, throw some money in an IRA or whatever it might be that they control as well.
I think they realized the time and they expected certain growth rates and they just didn't get it. And from that, they realized, well, again, savings accounts is that gateway towards investing and added it for that reason.
Yeah. Makes sense. How did you deal with the lack of control, or maybe you did have more control with, well, there's two sides. You mentioned affiliate marketing, of course, because it's not your own product, and you're dealing with regulations. I'm sure in finance, it's kind of insane. And then you have SEO. Obviously, this is completely two different questions here, because you're almost dealing with these two elements that you don't really have a ton of control. You have some.
Meaning like what? What's the question you're asking?
I guess, the question would be like, like when an offer changes, for instance, and you have content built around it, how did that look like to your business on the affiliate side? Because that's where we've experienced some, revenue can change a lot if, say, an offer changes, like the offer itself, or maybe it goes away.
Or goes away, yeah. I mean, that's obviously a risk with anything in affiliate marketing is, 1 minute you're getting a shitload of money from that affiliate, and next minute they're gone.
Exactly. So
that's happened, many times.
Well, let's just stick on the affiliate thing for a second. We'll circle back around to SEO in a few minutes. But like with the affiliate offers that you're promoting, I think one of the things that we run into promoting a lot of affiliate offers ourselves is we don't, like if you're selling your own product, you can put tracking throughout the whole thing. So we know exactly how many people came from this traffic source and turned into a sale, for instance. With affiliate marketing, you kind of lose a lot of that data, or, maybe you don't. Maybe there's some way we don't know. But,
in my
with
case,
us.
no. I mean, the thing that really I definitely focused on Investor Junkie was treating the actual affiliate products or the merchant products as if they were our own products and services. That was definitely something unique that I did. We had trackbacks for pretty much everyone. And if they didn't, we requested some sort of pixel or something to be able to get that conversion information into our system.
So you had a lot more data. Okay.
We had a lot more data than most websites. And it's funny. The ironic thing as I get into the digital marketing, internet marketing space, it's the plumber's plumbing. I'm finding that there might be experts in digital marketing, but when it comes to an affiliate program, their affiliate programs really suck.
Yes.
The tracking or lack thereof is really bad. And I'm definitely going to make sure with any merchant I work with is say, look, hey, if you want us to do like advertising or any ad spend or anything like that, I need tracking. There's no way in hell I'm going to do paid ads to something I may have a guess I'll be ROI positive or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And you're right. In the affiliate marketing space, a lot of what we promote is, software tools that various marketers would use in their business, and most of them have pretty weak tracking. You can add a sub ID to the end of a URL, and that's about the extent of the tracking they offer.
If that.
Yeah.
If that, you're right. Yeah.
So
that was where I was going with the lack of control, at least in the tracking part of things.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were circumventing that and maybe partnering up with the right folks, and just saying nope to the ones that you had no control over, because you're like, well, I'm not going to do my best.
Well, I mean, for organic SEO, you don't care. When you start paying for the traffic in any way, you do care. And again, from your end, I guess, if you're promoting a product, you say, look, we won't promote that product via paid ads unless you start giving us actual tracking capability. It's one way or another. I mean, I know you guys use ClickMagick, and they do offer an option for a pixel. I would say, look, you need to install this pixel, or else I'm not going to do paid ads with you for Facebook, Google, what have you.
Yeah. And we've actually gotten some of the affiliate products that we promote to do that, but it's some do, some don't, and
it's a one-on-one kind of conversation. Yeah, it's not a widespread ability, typically in our space at least.
And then the other area that we kind of lose a little control is with the actual sales message. We're driving them over to somebody else's page, and we actually had a very specific scenario where we were driving traffic to one person's offer, and it was just killing it for us. Like every day we were just generating a lot of sales for it. One day we woke up, logged it, went to their website, they completely overhauled their site, and our conversions just tanked.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you kind of know. I mean, the question I often get asked is, how do you know ahead of time if an affiliate program, you guys sort of know the same way. You just kind of know a new affiliate program is going to suck or not. And you kind of look at, well, they send it to the homepage. That's, big issue number one.
Yeah.
They send the affiliate offer, you send them a good lead, and then they just send it right to the homepage. That's, mistake number one. The other is, when you start really talking to the affiliate manager, or if they don't even have one, you just know that's another mistake. They don't really have a dedicated person or team to really understand how this stuff works. And again, it depends on the company size.
Very good point.
But some company sizes are, they can support that.
Yeah, that's very true.
With that said, I don't know. I mean, there's not much you really can do. I mean, if they change their whole design, you can say, look, we've seen now decreasing conversions. We got to do something. It's really in the end, that's one of the shitty parts about affiliate marketing is you can have, the best, on your side, the whole funnel leading up to a conversion on your side, but they just drop it on their side once the handoff happens. Yeah, and there's really not much you can do about it. I mean, you really try to. There's one merchant I worked with quite a bit and said, look, we're sending you great leads. Why can't you give us more data, but more importantly, let's help improve the conversion process, because we both win. And some get it, some don't, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's like at least a custom landing page or something that we can kind of collaborate on that piece together.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, it helps. I know our experience has been personal relationships. Usually we can get that done. But, when you're trying to go on scale, with a lot of offers, it gets a lot more tricky. And
I mean, I hired a person dedicated just for the management of the relationships for that reason, because if it was just, full-time job.
Oh, yeah. I could see it.
I believe it. Now, when it comes to the content, I think I already know the answer, but were you creating most of this content yourself? Did you have a content team? Like where, I imagine every tool or product that you were promoting, you weren't going and using it all yourself, or maybe you were. I'm just kind of curious, how did that content process work to create these reviews and comparisons?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, it was all me. And, the only team I had was other employees from my web hosting business. So I had a tech guy to actually help with support and just making sure the stuff was working. And then I had an accountant just do the billing, a bookkeeper. But outside of that, initially it was all me. So I wrote all the reviews. So obviously I had to have domain knowledge in investing, which I did, fortunately. So I had really a passion. I created Investor Junkie. One was because I saw the gap out there. The other was I had an active interest in it. Ever since I was probably 21, I was a finance nerd or geek, really had an active interest in this stuff. And so that really helped. So I really was able to speak, on the domain knowledge space really well. After that, I did hire an editor. I hired, writers for actually writing the content reviews. But really, in the end, I was the managing editor, or the editor-in-chief, I should say, and really helped, make sure the quality of the content was up to par. And with that, also SEO. So there's really a lot of steps involved. I mean, obviously, I'm simplifying it for a podcast to discuss this. but there was a lot of steps involved and a lot of things happened behind the scenes to make sure my ultimate goal from a review perspective was making sure the content was the most up to date as of the date of the person visiting the website. So therefore, when nothing's worse in my eyes reading a review that's say 6 months old, and that they had introduced this new feature like 2 weeks ago. Like, what the hell, guy? You need to update your content, and that affects SEO. So much more poor user experience for the user.
That's right. Yeah. So the customer journey for you, or it sounded like, so they would find you mainly through SEO, through content, was this blog posts, and then you lead them down some other custom pages until that conversion point. Is that kind of the flow?
More or less. We had other art. So we had reviews and comparisons. And we actually created an actual comparison tool. So the beauty of it was, let's say we created. I really created a whole system, and this took a few years to build. Is not only to make sure we managed all the review data in one spot. So all the metadata for that review was handled in the review itself. So let's say, for example, Betterment changed their rates or fees. We would change it in the review and it would affect the whole entire website automatically. Instead of having to go to 5 different places on the site and update that content, it just handled it automatically, which was great. It made it just a maintenance nightmare before, made it simple. And not only that, but it was easy for the actual editor or writer to update that content very easily instead of me having to get involved and go, well, did you remember to update it in these 5 other areas? Well, oh shit, no. And it just looked bad. That's the thing. You wanted to make sure the content is updated and current. So that was one thing we did. And then made a comparison tool to make it easy to not only create these auto-generated pages, meaning like Betterment, let's say a new robo-advisor came out, it would instantly allow us to do comparisons for all the other services out there, instantly. So it made it very easy to do a comparison without having to go out and then write, these, and the pages would be created automatically as well. So it was pretty advanced. And it allowed us for much longer tailed SEO.
And so was your company the only company that had access to this software that was making the comparisons?
Yes. The actual merchants did not have access to it. It was really just my staff and I.
How cool is that?
Yeah. No, where my brain is going is like, I wonder if there's a market to sell that software for, like a very, obviously I'm sure it went with the sale of your business, but
yeah, that part did. One of the things that I thought was a value add that most companies didn't really think there was a value add to was the whole affiliate tracking.
Yeah.
I developed a whole system to track every step of the way. Again, when you did a paid ad, organic search, social media, what have you, where that source of the conversion happened, and then track it from every step of the way. So I created the glue to really piece all these different tools I used in place. We talked, previously, Joe, about, I used ClickMeter. I'm really a big fan of their service over ClickMagic, just because of the whole API and the ability to then push that data into other services. And then I used, on top of that, Woopra to really show not only the aggregate, unlike Google Analytics, only shows you really aggregate data, but down to each individual user where the source of this person came from. Did they come from a Facebook ad I did? And if so, when did they convert? Did they convert on the first touch, or is it like 5 times, later? So I had all that data. So really, my goal was to build out this data, and my new business, and actually some consulting I'm doing now for others, is the same thing, where we actually help build out this information either through affiliates or your own products, and know every touch point along the way. That's really, I think, key. It's definitely fascinating how many times it takes before someone converts. And we talked about this with podcasting, how really shitty podcasts, as great as they are, they lack the tracking ability. And there's really, for something so advanced, you think it would have much better tracking ability.
Yeah, it's definitely in the podcasting world. You have like the old, the crew, that the original podcaster, and then you have the newer marketing folks, and the older crew is kind of, they don't like tracking, they don't like analytics and all that, or data, or all the stuff that Facebook does really well, and pixels,
which is bizarre in my eyes. Again, coming from a more direct marketing background and understanding how this all works, it's why not? You want to have, I know you guys are doing very effective what you can do with podcasting, which is great. I find that fascinating, and not many other podcasts are doing this, but you need to have some way to monetize and track your audience and get them down this funnel, because that's the goal. It should not be just purely, the shits and giggles do a podcast. You need to have money. If it's true business, you need to figure out a way to make money at it.
Yep. Yeah, we're not going to sit around and carve out a couple days a week just doing this for shits and giggles.
Yeah, no, it is interesting in the podcasting space. There's kind of this like old guard and the new guard, and the old guard is all the people that came out of the broadcasting world, all the people that were on like radio shows and things like that. Those are the ones that are really, really fighting data and statistics and things like that. And they talk about things like all the data breaches that have happened and like privacy and and retargeting pixels being bad and all that kind of stuff. And that's sort of like the old school podcasters. And then there's like a new wave of podcasters that are coming up that are like, no, fuck that. We want to know our numbers. We want to know how this is going to turn into sales. We want to know exactly how many people are listening and where they're listening from and how many of them are turning into sales of our products. And we want to know all of that. And so it's just been interesting because from an outside perspective, people that just tune into podcasts don't realize that this exists, but there's a divisiveness in this industry and it's very bizarre.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, prior to the internet, for traditional TV spots or radio spots, you go, okay, we had an increase in sales. Oh, it must be because of the actual radio spot we just had broadcast on this radio station. Like you kind of guessed, you didn't really know. Yep. Mm-hmm. There was no like direct, there was some correlation. I mean, that's just bizarre in my eyes. Like you want to know, okay, I did this ad at this time and this amount of people converted, down to the, exact person. Yeah. And podcasting doesn't really have that, which again, it's ironic now that with podcasting, with Google that is, Google's really starting to realize there is some, options there, especially with SEO. You can definitely start thinking about SEO as a game with podcasts. And I think more analytics will be down pipeline, which is a great thing for us.
Yeah, it will be. And they already are. They're trying. It's just, you get the pushback on some folks, but it's going to break through. It's an evolution.
There is an element of like, the podcasts are so splintered as well. You've got some people listen on iTunes, some people listen on Spotify, some people listen on Stitcher or Overcast. There's 100 apps out there and everybody has their favorite preferred app. And I believe that is where the biggest struggle has been in dialing in all the tracking is it's so hard to pull it in from all of these places.
Yeah.
But
we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit into talking about traffic and SEO and what was your process like? Like, how did you decide what your next article was going to be about on your site?
That's a great question. I really did the whole divide and conquer. So we would build out sections at a time. In other words, like we would finish building out robo-advisors and really go down that expertise and that funnel, if you will, and discuss every aspect about robo-advisors, be it the actual services themselves, be it comparisons, be it certain features and functionality available for those services, and really go down deep in that one category, and then go on to the next one is the way I built it. And I think that was really the best methodology for at least my site, was to build out section by section, because there's just so much content out there. And in the end, wound up having a very big site because there's just so much content in investing in all the different categories. But we became very much an expert in those said topics and try to be a little bit ahead of the curve as well. In other words, kind of look at the whole Wayne Gretzky quote is know where the puck is going, and being an expert or discussing like real estate services before they became popular, stuff like that. Because of my background, kind of knew that ahead of time. That was definitely one of the keys I think for my success, was knowing really what was the trends in the industry. In other words, stuff like Ahrefs that I know you guys discuss all the time. Is a little plug for them. Great service. The ironic thing is it can't tell you. It's only backwards looking. You can only know what's going on behind what's happened. You don't know the future trends, even Google trends themselves. You have to kind of have domain knowledge in that space, and that's really something you have to understand. And really, just pure SEO, technical SEO. There's really no way to know that.
Yeah. So your approach was more, I've got these sort of buckets of things I want to write about. So you weren't starting with a keyword and then going and creating content to match these keywords that you found. You kind of had like a bucket of things you want to talk about, and you just started building off of those buckets.
I mean, we did keyword research too, of course. But I mean, first and foremost is let's define the categories, the high level stuff we want to cover, and then do more research as it progressed, and then really get down to keyword specific. So it was really much high level topics or categories, and then getting down to keywords, what's available in that category, and then even getting more specific and much more longer tailed, and see what type of traffic is it trending upward, is it trending downward, what do you think is the future trends for that space. So much more looking at the future of where again things are going in that space, especially for robo advisors, because they kept adding new features and functionality every few months.
That's true. And that becomes more the power of that software that you developed as well. So you can update things very quickly,
Exactly.
on multiple pages at least. And how about,
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah. And what did you do? Did you do anything in terms of amplifying the content anywhere else? So you had social media, or sorry, SEO, that is. Did you do anything like repurposing of these content on other platforms?
No, I mean, that's definitely one of the things. If I still own a site now, would definitely start thinking multi-channel. We did very little remarketing, but I did more traditional ads with some success. I mean, so we did paid ads to get, audiences to various pages. And if anything, I would do more of that, more remarketing that I know you guys do a lot of. I see your ads all the time on my Facebook page.
They're working.
They are working. Yes. I've also bought your stuff too. So
thank you.
Anyway, yeah. But the point is, I mean, I would do more of that stuff. I would do more YouTube, podcasting, really get into the multiple channels, just be everywhere all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was kind of going to lend to something of like, a question of like, what would you do different? What did you learn? And the multi-channel, the repurposing, it's definitely an undertaking. It sounded like you had a great system, but you didn't have a large team. So, you can't really.
Oh, no. I mean, we had a skeleton staff. I had myself, I had an editor, I had about 5 or 6 writers at the time. I had a person handling specifically the merchants as far as the relationships. Mm-hmm. And then I had an SEO company I wound up hiring after I had a bout with issues with SEO with Google. And I believe negative SEO hit the site in 2016. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I had to handle that and really just wanted to have an outside source to say, based on their domain knowledge of more than other sites besides Investor Junkie, what do you recommend doing? And they helped along the way. So they also did more keyword research and also helped me do more of the backlink strategies as well. Where I also hired a design firm as well. So it was really a skeleton crew compared to NerdWallet, one of my biggest competitors. I think at the time they had like 70 employees or something like that, some crazy amount of employees. Wow. Granted, their revenue was much higher than mine, but I knew, based on because they're mostly about credit cards and debt, and most of their revenue comes from that. I mean, one of the lessons I learned, well, on one hand, with Investor Junkie, I focused on one niche, but on the other hand, debt definitely pays more or is a much bigger space than investing, just by very nature. More people are in debt than can invest.
Yeah, the net of the audience is much wider. Yeah. Your net's huge.
So they were a big competitor, but they had much bigger staff.
Right.
Now, is there anything in along the timeline of your business of Investor Junkie? Is there anything along the timeline that you can sort of see like this is where things started to take off? This was like the pivot point that made the difference.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I started in 2009. And really, for the first year and a half, 2 years, there was actually one point I was even considering quitting. Wow. And just didn't, I mean, I already had the other business, the web hosting. I was just not happy with it. I mean, I was generating a decent amount of income, but I wanted something different. And so I, again, looked towards this site as not only to figure out affiliate marketing, but also SEO as well. Before this, I knew SEO, but I was nowhere near an expert I was today. And again, it took me about 2 years before I started generating income where I go, yeah, this is definitely possible. Mm-hmm. And from that, really the turning point was, I could definitely grow this into something bigger than I ever expected. And it did.
Hmm. And did you have issues with trying to keep your focus on this path? Or are you just like in that, did you have an end game in mind and stay on that path the entire time, or were there pivots happening along the way?
Well, when I first started, it was much more about my personal advice about investing. And I, again, saw the opportunity that really reviews and comparisons were the biggest opportunity out there. There were not many other sites out there doing it and doing it well. And being with my background in programming, realized, hey, let's start figuring out a way to automate this and make it more scalable. So I can add more reviews and make it more systematized, make it a way to just make it easier to manage. That was really key. I mean, to me, SEO is much more than just purely content play. I think nowadays, especially with all the content out there, there's only so much there's so many different ways you can write. Like, for example, I always use what is a mortgage, or what's the best mortgage rate? There's only so many ways you can write that content before you're copying or mimicking what other people are doing. And to me, the key nowadays is much more about functionality. What can you add to your site functionality-wise, be it a calculator, be it some comparison tool, some way to really add engagement and interactivity that will make you different than the other sites out there. Otherwise, you're just another me too.
Yeah, it's like you want something sticky, something that's useful, utility that they want to come back to. It has value on its own, and the content is serving to attract the folks. But ideally, you want your own audience. You can then obviously sell them a lot more. It's a lot easier once you got them and you give them that trust once.
Yeah, I mean, the content's easy to replicate.
Right.
That's why all these big companies are now acquiring all these sites, or just doing the same thing. They have a shitload of staff writers, and all they do is pump out content, and it's hard to compete against that. So how can you be better than that? And it's really functionality. That's really the next step in my eyes with SEO, is more than just purely writing good content. It's about how can you improve your user experience, be it functionality, apps, or services.
Now, how would you recommend somebody approach that? Let's say there's a listener here that's seeing their website as kind of a commodity website among millions of other sites doing the same thing, and they want to add some sort of tool to their thing. What advice would you give them to do that? Where would you send them? I'm not totally sure what I'm trying to ask here, but
maybe it's like what's the concept of that thing, and then how to get it done.
Yeah.
Well, don't do Amazon Associates.
No, yeah, they don't pay anything.
Yeah, they don't pay shit. Definitely try. I always use that as the last resort. So but I guess most people under monetize their sites, and I think that's an affiliate marketing ad is. I think most people don't realize the capabilities you can do to properly monetize. I mean, I really tracked every level of detail to where the placement of a button, to how people engaged in the page, and really took it at that nth level, and figure out ways where can we better monetize without also changing the review or affecting the content in any way. We really looked at ways to increase the engagement on the site, and from that helped with SEO. I mean, to get to your original question, I guess, what advice would I give someone?
So let me sort of like reframe it. Now, were you a developer yourself, or did you hire a developer to build the sort of software element behind what you were doing?
Both. I mean, I was a stickler. I was a pain in the ass to my design team, because they would write me code, and I would adjust stuff as they submitted it to me. Like this sucks. I mean, let's fix this.
Yeah.
So I mean, both. So I hired a development team, and they did a great job. Don't get me wrong. But it was really, I had the skills and knowledge to figure out, okay, this stuff could be automated, and really took it from that perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like everyone can kind of identify something, going back to what you were saying, Matt, if they're in a commodity type thing, if they're just a Me Too affiliate marketer or whatever business out there, identify whatever that, maybe it's a time savings thing, something that can automate some of the stuff they do constantly. It's like figuring out what is that valuable piece that you can give them.
Yeah, I mean, to me, SEO, you're having to, Google rewards people when they add value. How are you adding value? And again, most people think of it just purely as a content play. And in my eyes, it's more than that. It's really, like I said, other functionality. So that's really the key. If Google will reward you, going back to SEO, if you're adding more value than the competing sites.
Yeah. Yeah. And Google's mainly looking at what time on site, how many pages they're going through, how often maybe they're coming back, return visitors, all these different aspects. And
I mean, even more so, I look at their, not only, but clicking on links on your page or any buttons, they're looking at the total engagement of the site. They're looking at what are you doing? Are you just sitting there and bouncing off to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Or are you actually engaging in some level? And Google, of course, with SEO, you don't want to be too transactional. I believe what I've learned with my bout of decrease in SEO or ranking with Google was it's definitely possible to be too transactional. Google ultimately hates affiliate marketing websites. They fucking hate it. They want you to be on, they prefer, they hate to see that they send you to a website and then you're now immediately bouncing to somewhere else. They absolutely hate that. They want to see you add value in that some process. So if you're an affiliate marketer and you're selling someone else's products on your site, by putting a link at the very top of the page, right off the bat, that's a sure sign you're not going to rank very high in Google. You need to have some sort of your content, some way you're adding value to the reader, and then eventually pitch them for the link to whatever merchant you're just promoting. So you can't just put it right, smack dab right in the middle of the page, above the fold. That's a really recipe for failure.
Yeah. No, the way you say that makes a lot more sense. As for folks probably listening here, is there are just so many review type sites out there that just go for that quick sale. It's like content sale. Yep. And I'm sure some do very well. But yeah, like the approach we take is we like to see it as more of a, maybe we go deep into one specific product. Well, we're going to create a ton of content around that product. So, different features for each blog post or video, whatever it might be. So we're interlinking, we're trying to get that engagement on multiple pages. And then, of course, you have an email list and ways to keep engaging with them, mini chat, text message type stuff. We were doing all of that stuff. We still do.
Yeah.
And I think, that's what's really helped us not only rank better because we have the consistent content and all that, but also just the communication. We're always talking with folks in different ways that most affiliate marketers don't think about. They're not going that deep with it.
Well, I think in our space, when it comes to affiliate marketing, I think most affiliate marketers are impatient. They want to get the sale immediately. And I feel like the thing that's differentiated us and made us more successful with affiliate marketing is that we don't even try to make the sale on the first touch. On the first touch, even with paid traffic, we're sending them to content first because we know that we can retarget people. We know we can capture some of them on our list. We know we have other ways to get back in touch with these people. So let's just impress them with content first and then go for the sale tomorrow. Like that's kind of been our philosophy with affiliate marketing, and it's worked really, really well for us. And I just think so many affiliate marketers are just impatient.
I totally agree. I mean, that's not just in your space; it's also financial space too. Yeah. I mean, people want to just go for the kill, instantly. And I mean, again, with reviews and product comparisons, you're at the final stages or one of the final stages before people do convert, and so you're at an advantage if you do have a review site or comparison site. Sure. But with that said, don't have it right above the fold. Buy now. People don't want that. Again, Google will not reward you for that, from my findings, from an SEO perspective. They want to see you, again, adding some sort of value. And I purposely removed on the site any call to action above that fold on purpose. And it worked really well for us. And I suspect, really from my testing, it still should work well today.
Yeah. Matt just pulled Investor Junkie up, actually. And I know you don't control it now, but yeah, we're just like, oh, and that's I'm curious about this actually. How, and I don't, if you don't need to answer this actually, because I don't know if you can, but do you don't have any say with Investor Junkie at all anymore, right?
No, I mean, we had the relationship, and I had a commitment for a certain time frame, and as I said, hey, no, I do not. I mean, nothing against the new owners. I mean, it was something where I want to have a clean break. I mean, one of the things that I've seen with some other, people selling their websites is have this like, oh, well, I'll have some, say in the site during the period will be like partnership. And I guess from my eyes, that's just the recipe for failure. That's like being half pregnant. It just doesn't work. And you need to have some sort of, I don't know, you need to have, either you own it outright and you have total authority over it, let someone else take it over. Have it where it's a lot of people consider it their baby, and you want to keep working on it. It's just not going to happen. I don't know. I'd rather just have a clean cut and do something different.
Sure.
I mean, that's not to say that I couldn't work with them again. Who knows? I mean, I never say never. Yeah. But right now, it's a complete clean cut, I should say, and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing. And just the fact that you obviously have your investor background, so you know what to do after you exit a company, which is amazing. And the clean break thing is probably great for just mental space in general too, for all the future stuff that you've learned from this experience. At least what it sounds like is like, this is a very profitable learning experience. And now you can transition and do things where, maybe it allows a little bit more freedom, or, just shoring up the things that you were blind to at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I look at it as like the sales where I locked in my gains, and now I can do something different, and I can do the long game with my new stuff. I don't have to worry about, again, short-term profits. I don't have to worry about, I can do things over years in terms of your time frame. So to your point, I'm definitely about that long game where a lot of affiliate marketers are, again, they want that instant sale. They need that revenue. They need to make sure every month you're restarting, from zero. And that's one of the bad things about affiliate marketing too, is every month the dial resets back to zero, so you're having to start up income again. And if Google changes their algorithm or affiliate leaves or just in general something changes, your revenue that was once great could be, down in, the gutter.
Sure.
So where do you see yourself going from here? Do you see yourself setting up more affiliate sites and kind of duplicating the success you've had? I know you're going to focus a little bit more on the personal brand side of things, but do you have some intentions to kind of recreate what you've created once already?
I mean, for example, if I was to, I have a non-compete until next year. For me to just go out and restart Investor Junkie would be stupid. From my end, to just create an exact replica of that.
Right, but you can go to other verticals, right? Like if you didn't want to do investor related, you could go into, I'm sure there's other verticals where you could kind of duplicate the same success.
Internet marketing or digital marketing, I have interest in right now. On top of that, I've thought about other verticals. I've kind of done some basic research. I haven't had anything committed just yet. I guess right now my goal is to just build out, do my consulting practice, my courses, and really that's it at the moment. But maybe, one of the things that I hate in digital marketing, and you know this very well too, is it's very meta, meaning people will go, here's me selling a course on me selling you how I did my course.
Yeah. You call it meta. We call it incestuous.
Yeah. We just cut right to it, man.
It is though. It's very incestuous. Come on. Let's actually showcase another site. So my goal is to create another site as well.
Yeah.
I haven't decided exactly what yet, but that's something I'm definitely considering because of, again, not only because I have an interest in it, but it's again, not showcasing something else other than my own site.
So, I think it's such a cool position, where you're at there, where time is your friend. You have this space, and I'm curious to hear about how your thinking goes because, after sale of a business, you have investing background. I'm sure you have a lot of runway, making all the right moves. You're not rushing into this, it sounds like, but how does it feel in your brain? It's like you obviously can't stop. You're an entrepreneur. We talked about that.
Yeah.
How's the feeling now, like when approaching a new project, I guess? Like, what's the thought pattern behind it?
Well, I can say definitely first and foremost, it's very weird you're relying on your investing, all your investments for income. So it's a very weird scenario. I'm right now, 48? And it's just very weird. I don't plan on ever formally retiring, but it's just a weird feeling that, relying on your investments to generate income for you. So that's definitely first very weird for me because I've never been unemployed my whole life. So it's very odd right now that I'm quote unquote unemployed. Again, I have my new business, but it's, just in the very beginning phases. So with that said, in terms of investments, do you want me to talk about more how I approach my investing?
That could be interesting actually. Now that you bring it up, actually, what is, if you're open to it, how do you? What do the investments look like, or at least your strategy where you're at right now?
It's interesting. So normally, without getting too much detail, it's more. Normally, I'm a 70-30 asset allocation. So that means 70% stock, 30% bonds. And right now, at the moment, I'm actually the exact opposite. I'm actually 70% bonds and 30% stock. And eventually I plan to get to the reverse. But it's really, I had this large cash inflow and just slowly taking it. Like you said, I'm not in a rush to do anything. Don't make any, haste decisions and don't get it, jump into anything too quickly and really taking this slowly. And believe it or not, in general, I believe in taking more risk in my business since I have more control over it, and then investing in the stock market. Or, that's not to say, at the moment I have one real estate property. I've had it for many years. But I'm really slowly getting into other investments. Really, again, taking it very slowly on purpose because there's no rush. There's no reason to, based on where at least I see the valuations of the stock market at the moment, right now, sequence of returns risk is a big issue for someone like me because of, in other words, let's say the stock market corrected tomorrow, and if I was in 70% stocks, that's a huge, cut in my net worth. Where I've won the game, so why take a risk right now where I don't need to? So that's one thing I definitely could mention. Outside of that, again, I believe I'm much more about keeping that money as, again, my just generating income off of it and really invest in my businesses and grow it that way. I really believe in you have more control over a business and do better at it. And especially the way I look at where current interest rates are, it's very hard to generate any decent amount of income.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think the best return of your investment is your own self in business.
Yeah, it's true. And you bet on yourself. You know yourself in your business. You have the control and the most control you can have.
Exactly.
That's great.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, this has been amazing. And I mean, I don't even know what to. I think we covered so much.
Yeah, we did
My
cover a
brain
lot
is
of ground.
just like swelling right now.
A couple sort of last questions to round up. You're into tech and you've had websites and SEO and you've done all that kind of stuff. What is do you have any tools that you would recommend to other people? I know you mentioned Ahrefs earlier. We use Ahrefs in our business. Are there any other tools that are have been sort of instrumental in creating what you've created?
Yeah, I mean, definitely ClickMeter. So clickmeter.com. Woopra, which is a weird name, but a great tool, WOOPRA.com.
Now, what does Woopra do again? I know you mentioned it earlier, but I didn't quite grasp what that one did.
So you have Google Analytics. Google Analytics I actually hate. I mean, it's great as far as a free tool. You don't have to pay for it. And it's great as far as offering some basic analytic information. What I do hate about it is lack of what's called PII or personal identification information. You cannot store any data in there like email address, name, what have you.
Right.
Which really sucks in my eyes. I mean, you're trying to track people through your site. You want to establish some sort of relationship with your audience, but Google's terms forbid this. So that's a big issue on my end. And the other is, I mean, not really until recently, they lacked the functionality of really tracking down to the individual level. So you really looked at the aggregate. In other words, you looked at, okay, you had 10 people visit this web page, or you had 10 people go through this funnel. And that was really it. You really could not drill down to the level of detail, where Woopra really allows you to not only, show the aggregate, but it allows you to drill down to each level of detail. And also, unlike Google, it's like a database. So once it gets into the system, and once you're properly tracking it via your UTM codes or whatever, you actually have it. And not only that, but the other issue too is Google is primarily web-based. In other words, web-centric, where I really have all this data from these other silos. I have email, I have push notifications, I have website, I have Thrivecart, let's say. I want all that data in one system. And Woopra allows me to really push it into one system and know each step along the way, the various touch points they've hit my site or various other services. So I know this one person, Joe over here, is not only visit this web page 5 times, but they also open this email over here too. And then they've also clicked on this link over here. They've also, ordered this service. So I have it all, tied into one system. So I know all the data in one place. Where before you had to go to like 5 different systems to really get the picture of that user.
Yeah. Yeah. We use a tool called Wicked Reports right now. Yep. And Wicked Reports it's pretty good. I mean, it gives you a lot of the identifiable information. I can look at any one of our customers and see their entire path that they traveled, but it's fairly useless for affiliate marketers. That's the issue. Because I looked at them too. And Woopra on one hand is great because it's fully customizable, has an API. If you can do API calls and all that good stuff, you're good to go. So you can definitely push stuff in there any which way you want. You can create your own custom data types. It's really powerful. Again, unlike Google Analytics, where you're just really knowing, hey, you had a click for this, affiliate. Great. I want to know the actual conversion. How many people converted for this service? And I had that. I actually had visualization of a funnel for each merchant we work with, which was pretty amazing. So you actually knew, again, comparison to treating it like your own product. So I actually knew every step of the way. So I knew they came from this search or from the social media click. They then went to this review and then they converted and what the conversion rates were through that whole funnel, at least on our side.
Man, that's cool. See, you're super advanced
affiliate
marketer and tracking.
I got to be looking into Woopra. That sounds like right up our alley.
It is. It doesn't come cheap. It comes about $1,000 a month. But the data and getting all the stuff from the various services you have, I created a custom link to Thrivecart, for example. I know you guys use that.
Yep.
It allows you to really track. I've done this for one of my customers as well. Is you create a whole membership site. You want to know then what's your lifetime value and track each user. So you can add all that stuff in there. You can do. This is the cool thing about Woopra too. Is you can actually do a push notification to the user based on certain criteria.
Oh,
So
wow.
let's say you want to have an event happen. Let's say they visit the email, they open up the email, they clicked on a web page. You know this person's actively engaged. You can then send a push notification via pop-up and have it show up on their web browser the next time they visit your site. You can do all sorts of really custom shit. And you can send this data to Facebook for, say, a custom audience, to Google Ads. You can do all sorts of stuff that really is just not possible in other systems I've found.
Wow. Yeah, it's like your central hub of everything tracking and
Exactly.
yeah,
I've always said it this way: is I want to, you obviously Facebook and Google know a shitload about your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know as much information, if not more, and then I own that data as opposed to having Facebook or Google owning that data. I don't want them owning that data. I consider that the value add from my end as an affiliate marketer. I want to know more about these customers than my merchants do.
It's a very good point. I mean, like Google and Facebook, they definitely see all that data. And it's like, okay, well, if you're the one paying for it, you're doing the work, you're building this whole business and this place they want. Like, okay, so let's have some of that data.
Yeah,
so
they have you by the balls. So they have you. I mean, so what I want to do is I want to selectively send certain information, certain custom audiences to Facebook or Google. Look, if I'm going to do remarketing, there's certain data that Facebook just can't have or doesn't have. There's no way for them to know it. And I want to send that information to them to say, create a lookalike audience. Let's say for my one customer I suggested, they haven't done this yet, but that's the next step for them, is let's say, based on, the current history of these people, they're actively engaging and watching your videos for a course. They're really using this course. And so you want to create, a lookalike audience to Facebook. There's really no way to do that within Facebook to really. So you can send this information to Facebook if you want to.
Yeah, you're basically calling an event that's happening inside your domain somewhere or membership site, and then you're saying, yo, Facebook or Google, follow these people around or give them more value or this next step, whatever. Remind them to take the rest of the course even.
Well, that too. You can do that too. I mean, you can do all sorts of custom events like that. It's really cool shit. Wow. And Wicker Reports kind of is great for the beginning part of a funnel, the actual conversion. They're all about conversions. After that, they're like, could care less. And that's, I think, the biggest limitation in Wicker Reports. So granted, they're much better than most people have, which is nothing as far as tracking is concerned.
Sure.
But in my eyes, I want the full picture. If you have a membership site or a course site of any which way, you want to know you want to know not only what took them to convert, but you want to know these actively, how engaged are these people? And if they're not engaged, to your point, maybe re-up them and say, hey, we've noticed via email, but it could be also through a Facebook campaign, remarketing campaign. Hey, we haven't seen you log into the membership site recently. Why don't you check it out again?
Yeah. Incentivize them and do whatever you got to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. Any other tools or I know the last time you and I chatted that one, you went off on so I can, obviously it's important.
It is important. I mean, because of it, well, the downside is you really got to know then how to program stuff or hire someone. But I mean, there's out of the box a lot of API calls or hooks into their system, which is great. So that's definitely helpful. But, if you want to take it to that next level like I do, if you want to take it to 11, you got to definitely know how to program at some level.
Yeah.
But with that said, no, there's really the two major tools I think really differentiated my site was we really knew the customers really in detail. And I think that's the next game in affiliate marketing. I think as SEO is really becoming a crowded space, you got to figure out other ways to monetize. And, obviously the ironic thing is there's a whole sub niche of affiliate marketing I was not aware of until really 2-3 years ago of just purely, marketing through arbitrage, if you will, doing through Facebook ads or Google ads and just sending it to a landing page and convert and really not doing any value add, where I always did the opposite. And it's ironic. They're sort of converging back to one where you want to do more traditional ads or remarketing of people through affiliate marketing. I think that's the next phase of this, but you need to measure it. You need to monitor those people and you need to track them. And you need a tool like Woopra and ClickMeter, no less, to track all that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
And that's the only downfall that at least we've run into is all the tracking, but maybe there's a solution here. So there's totally a solution.
I mean, definitely. I mean, pushing at minimum, if you're working with a merchant that doesn't have it, tell them, look, we need a pixel. Give me something.
Yeah. Now, is it something that if you had like Zapier, it would sync up through that, or is it more advanced than that?
I mean, Zapier works at some level with Woopra. I know they have a connection to it. It depends on the tool. I mean, it really depends on what data they have on their side. I mean, in the end, it's all API calls. And if one system doesn't have the options to let's say most people track via email address. That's really the key. Is in order to identify a person via, nowadays you have multiple touch points. If you're, for example, more and more people are using not only their web browser on their desktop, but they're going to their mobile phone, and email's the way to uniquely identify that person.
Yeah, it's the consistent factor.
It's a consistent way to track that person. And that's definitely with the campaign, which you guys do, I know, is using email to definitely make sure they visit your site via email, via a web browser on their work computer. Then they go home and visit from another computer. You can easily track that same person.
Right. Yeah. Cross browser, cross device, all that stuff.
Cross device, yeah.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
I like this. We're going to look into Woopra again, because I think I sent it to you, Matt, and this is the better picture. I'd like to hear it from Larry.
Yeah. I mean,
we
love to go deeper on affiliate marketing, but with affiliate marketing, our biggest issue is just it's always been for us attribution. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's the next future or next phase of affiliate marketing. You have no choice. You have to do attribution, or else the beauty of SEO is you don't have to pay for it. But when you start paying for any type of traffic, you need attribution.
Oh yeah. And again, and like you said, a lot of people they don't know how to go about that traffic and what to do with it. So you're kind of in this whole open area that everyone else is competing in SEO. And that's almost like gravy for you. It'll still happen, but you can rely more on the paid side or whatever these other channels are.
I mean, I always say that the funny thing is, I think most people are just happier than a pig in shit with just getting a report saying, "Hey, we've had 5 conversions this month," and they're happy with just that. They don't even know what's the source on your website of those conversions. I mean, come on, you need more information than that. This review over here is helping. Is this promotion you're doing? Which button on a page? Really getting into that level of detail. Yeah. And I think that's really what made. Based on the traffic, I can't give out specifics, but based on actual revenue numbers, it was off the charts compared to the competing sites because we just much more effective in our conversions.
Yeah, I'm sure, and then I'm sure that's why you demanded $6 million for the site, with the multiple of purely affiliate revenue. That's what's so cool too. Is like you don't even have a product, you just created content and you had badass systems.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I really think a lot of what we talked about is going to open some people's eyes to what's possible with an affiliate business, and I think even before this discussion, I didn't even consider the possibility of building an affiliate blog with the potential of an exit, so that's just opened my eyes to the possibility that you can exit from an affiliate blog.
Most people poo-poo that idea like immediately, but
really
we're seeing
proof.
Why
is that?
Why do you think that? I think you could sell it, but I think it's for a substantial amount. I mean, we don't need to discuss multiples here or anything, but it's the fact that it is something that's not totally in your control. These are things that we've heard, other people telling us taking affiliate marketing forward because it's part of our business, but it's not the main thing. But the fact that it was part of your business still is, and you sold it for that amount.
Yeah, I mean, the personal finance space has a lot. There's been a bunch of them lately. I mean, Student Loan Hero, for example, sold for $60 million.
Oh wow.
Wirecutter sold for I think $30 million. Was it? I think it was $30 million.
Wow.
And that's now owned by New York Times. And those are pure affiliate plays.
Yeah, and really, this just comes down to our ignorance of that market. In our market, internet marketing, a blog that promoted a whole bunch of affiliate products, I think would probably have a hard time selling. In the financial market that you were in, it seems like that's actually semi-common that people build up these kinds of blogs and sell them. So it's just two different worlds, and so this episode has been eye-opening for us. That it opened up a new potential that I'd never really thought about.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I definitely from my end, it's ironic again coming from my background. I'm getting now into digital marketing, and it's definitely a different game. I mean, my wife initially thought well, it's gonna be the same as what you were doing before. I'm like, no, much different.
Yeah, much different. You need a new challenge.
I mean, the funny thing is, I find fascinating is you look at some sites out there. Some of them don't really monetize with SEO at all, or very little. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's much more about your audience and much more about your personal brand. Hence, why I'm kind of building that up as well. I find that fascinating. Yeah, there are a lot of people not focusing on SEO. I mean, Pat Flynn. I like his site. I like him a lot. But his SEO game really needs to be upped, I think.
Yeah, which is interesting because in the early days of Pat's blog, it was like really SEO heavy, really focused on SEO.
You did a lot of affiliate marketing then too.
Yeah.
So that was probably part of it. But yeah, we all have our blind spots. So, can't do it all. But I love that. Yeah, you're exposing these are blind spots. I mean, there's blind spots that you had that.
Definitely.
We didn't have. It's interesting. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, my mistakes were I didn't really build out, a personal brand, or I didn't really do multiple medias. I didn't do video. I didn't do. I did email. It didn't really do very well. With ironically, in digital marketing, that's really the mainstay for most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is awesome, Larry. Well, let's wrap it up with.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Let's envision you had to go run and grab a book in your house. It's on fire. You're like, oh man, I gotta.
I love how you word this every time.
Yeah, man. I took it from Justin Brooke, a previous guest. I'm like, I like it. Yeah. It's like you get one book, maybe two.
Your house is on fire. You got to grab one book out the door. What book are you grabbing?
Yeah.
I mean, because I knew you were going to ask this question to me, so I thought about it ahead of time.
Good.
I would have to say MJ DeMarco's Millionaire Fastlane.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. Yes.
And I think because of it's, I mean, if it wasn't that one, it would be Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think both. I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad is really a basic of just getting you to think differently if you're really starting from nothing.
Yeah.
Where MJ DeMarco at least gives you a foundation of here's the concepts you need to apply, and here's some good businesses and some bad businesses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad was literally the book that got us into entrepreneurship. That was the book that sparked the, that was the spark that lit the fire.
It was all perspective changes. That's all it took. We're like, oh, that's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's eye opening. I mean, it definitely, lack of details obviously is the bad part of it. And does actually, the Rich Dad actually exist is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, it's great for inspiration.
Sure.
And again, MJ DeMarco's book, I think, and both books actually, Unscripted is pretty good too.
Yeah,
it's basically a repeat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay, got it.
More or less. I mean, but it's both good though.
Cool, man. Awesome, Larry. Well, where should folks follow you? Go check out some of your stuff. I know you're in transition mode, so who knows?
Yeah, so if you want to go to LarryLudwig.com, I do have I have a course right now. I have SEO for writers. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be working on other courses as well, SEO for webmasters, ironically, and affiliate marketing course. Those are still in development. But the SEO for writers course, as of this minute, is live. And actually, I have a discount if they're interested, a 10% discount if they enter the promo code HUSTLE.
Nice.
On my site. But if you go to LarryLudwig.com, all the stuff is there, my social media, my email. It's just easy to point someone to one site. Instead of, you go to my Instagram account, you go to my Twitter account here. No, just go to my website, Larry.
Good call, LarryLudwig.com, and get the courses. Use Hustle for anything you got there. And we'll link it in the show notes, of course. Larry, appreciate your time, man. This has been great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into that episode. I hope you loved it as much as we loved recording it. Now, before we wrap this up completely, I want to give a quick shout out to our supporters of the show. These are some companies that have really helped us and have supported the show, and we just like to give a big thank you to them, and they also are offering some cool free gifts for you as the listener. So number one supporter, Podcast Magazine, the preeminent publication covering podcasts, podcast culture, and the podcasts that fans love. It's launching in January of 2020. Prior to launch, you could grab a free lifetime subscription over at podcastmagazine.com. That is a free subscription, a free lifetime subscription to Podcast Magazine, where they are talking about everything podcasting, podcast culture, the podcasters you love, behind the scenes of podcasts. They're ranking and reviewing podcasts. And guess what? Joe and I are actually going to be regular contributors to Podcast Magazine. So if you want to hear more of our insights around podcasting and the shows that we're listening to and some insider tips about what's going on behind the scenes of our show, we're actually going to be one of the featured experts inside Podcast Magazine. So if you love podcasts, if you're a podcaster, or if you just want to stay on top of what's going on in the growing medium, subscribe now because you can get a free lifetime subscription until it launches. So make sure you do this early. So once again, go to podcastmagazine.com. Free subscription to this magazine. Go do it. Get on that now. Another supporter that we really, really want to thank is Easy Webinar. Now, this is the webinar platform that we tend to use when we run webinars. If you go to easywebinar.com/hustle, you can actually try Easy Webinar for free right now. And what I love about Easy Webinar personally is that it's got both the live options, so you can just go live with a webinar like you would normally, but it's also got automated webinars where you can make a webinar feel like it's live, but it's happening on a recurring basis. Then they have what's called, hybrid webinars where portions of it are live, but then it goes to a pre-recorded, and then they do encore webinars. I mean, they've got pretty much every feature you can ever want from a webinar. Now, you probably know that webinars convert better than any other marketing tool, but if you thought you know webinars, Easy Webinar is going to surprise you. So with live, automated, all these different functions of webinars, you're going to be using the best onboarding customer platform. You're going to be able to create automated courses. You're going to run automated sales funnels. So much cool stuff that you can do with Easy Webinar. It is our preferred choice of platform for webinars. So make sure you check out Easy Webinar. You can get it for free right now. Get a trial of it over at easywebinar.com/hustle. And check out our episode with Casey Zeman, the founder of Easy Webinar, where we dive into a lot more cool stuff that you can do with webinars. So check it out again, easywebinar.com/hustle. To get a free trial, go to podcastmagazine.com to get a free lifetime subscription. Both amazing products, both products that we use, we're subscribed to, and we support, and can't thank them enough for also supporting our show. So go check those out. We appreciate you, and thanks for tuning in to Hustle and Flowchart. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. Before taking the time to listen, we want to give you something a little bit special. Every single episode that we do, we actually have somebody on our team take notes. We basically have a Cliff's Notes version of every episode where you can go and find all of the tips and tactics that they laid out, all of the resources that they laid out, all the good stuff from this episode. We actually have a nice simple notes version that you can find on our website. So go to evergreenprofits.com, find this episode that you just listened to, and give us your email address and we'll send you the notes. Thanks for